Recall that in the last video I showed you how to use SyncroSim to bring in some online data and models and generate some COVID-19 forecasts. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add some local data and to explore alternative policy scenarios as well using SyncroSim. So here's where we left off in the last video. We brought in and set up a number of scenarios, and we'd run one of them, the scenario for current public health measures continuing in Ontario. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to configure a scenario that's specific to a city within Ontario. That's the city of Ottawa, my hometown. So the first thing we need to do then is add Ottawa as a possible jurisdiction. It's recognized by the model, so we'll do that. We added Ottawa. And next we're going to take the Ontario scenario that we had previously, make a copy of it, and we'll just come over here, and we're now going to rename this to be current measures scenario for Ottawa instead of Ontario. And we're going to go in and we're going to accept most of the default parameters for the model that are set for Ontario. We're just going to change a couple that are specific to Ottawa. The first is we're going to set the population. Instead of 14 million, will be, I think it's 995,000. So there we go, we've got the population. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the death data that was appropriate for Ontario. And what I've done is I've created a spreadsheet here going online. I found the death data for Ottawa, and I typed it into the spreadsheet, and I'm just going to import that spreadsheet into SyncroSim. There it is. Okay. So now I've loaded up to the 15th of May, the available death data for Ottawa. So I can now take that scenario, I can save those changes, and I can rerun that now that I've changed it from the Ontario values. And so what I'm going to generate here then is some forecasts that are specific to the city of Ottawa, having added in local data for, in this case, for deaths, and left the rest at the defaults for the province of Ontario. So I'm done now. I can look at the forecasts, and similar to what we saw in the last video, here are the forecasts for infections and for deaths associated now with the city of Ottawa. So this is the time series of actual deaths, and here's the projected future deaths out to June 30th for the city of Ottawa. Now that's one scenario that we've looked at, right? Now I can go over and create a new scenario for Ottawa. So I'll take a copy of this and paste. And now let's suppose we want to look at what might happen, what's forecast to happen, were we to relax some of the public health measures in place at present. So there we go. So we've got a copy of the current measure scenario. So what we want to do is we want to change. For this case, we could change as many parameters as we like, but here what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that we have the same growth rates, base growth rates that were in place under current health measures for the whole province. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift those rates up slightly to reflect the change I expect to see as a result of relaxing public health measures. So we can look here just as a bit of background. Here are the growth rates of cumulative deaths for Ontario, the actuals down to today, and they've come down to about 2.5% per day. So what I'm going to do is in my model, I'm going to do a what if scenario and say what if they increased by 0.5% from 2.5 to 3%, and then 3.5, then 4 each week for the next 3 weeks. In response to us relaxing public health measures. So we do that. We can start by saying, okay, on Monday, tomorrow, what if the rates went up by 20%? So I'm going to multiply the existing base rates by 1.2 on the 18th. And then on the 25th, the week later, due to further relaxing of measures, I might bump the rates up another 20%. So from 2.5 to 3, now to 3.5, or 2.5 to 3, and now to 3.5%. And then maybe on June 1st, let's go to the end of my steadily relaxing, I might increase them by another 20%. So that's one what if scenario I might want to look at in the model. I can save that. And now what I can do is I can right click, hit run, and I can run that alternative scenario. Now, there's a number of ways that you could come up with alternative scenarios and look at them in the model. This is just one simple example showing you how you can explore alternative assumptions regarding future infection growth rates. And when we do that, what we get in blue is the original scenario that I ran with current measures, and now overlaid on top is the projections or forecasts under this relaxed measured scenario for deaths and infections.